Once upon a time, before anything existed, God was there. He was the first, the greatest, and the most powerful being in the universe. With just a word, He created everything around us, the stars, the planets, and even the tiny insects that crawl on the ground. It's only because of His constant presence that the world continues to exist today. God isn't just sitting back and watching from afar. He is actively involved in everything, guiding the forces of nature like a conductor leading an orchestra. Every raindrop, every gust of wind, and every flash of lightning obeys His command. As the creator of all things, God has the right to decide how everything should work. He has the power to shape His creation however He sees fit. No one questions Him. He answers only to Himself. The word sovereign means that God is the highest authority, far above everything else. It reflects His greatness and perfect nature. The God we read about in the Bible is eternal and self-sufficient, meaning He doesn't need anyone else to exist. He is perfect in all His ways and governs Himself without anyone telling Him what to do. But God isn't just powerful. He is also good and just. He cannot do anything wrong. Even when He brings about destruction or judgment, like when cities face their end, He is still in control. He acts according to His plan and timing, always with a purpose. Everything He does is right, reminding us that He is just and fair in all His ways. Long before God created the world, He brought angels into existence. We may not know the exact moment they appeared, but we do know they were there when everything began. The Bible tells us that angels rejoiced as God crafted the universe, praising Him for His amazing work, Job 38 verses 4-7. In fact, before the Garden of Eden was even formed, angels had already been living in the heavenly realm. By the time Satan, one of those angels, chose to rebel against God, he had already fallen from grace. Angels are powerful beings, created by God with abilities that surpass those of humans. They dwell in heaven, a special realm beyond our physical universe, where they exist in a higher state. 1 Kings 8 verse 27, John 6 verse 38. In the Bible, they are often referred to as spirits, highlighting their place in the spiritual realm. 1 Kings 22 verse 21, Psalm 18 verse 10. These heavenly beings serve God by carrying out His commands and assisting in the care of the universe. Whether delivering important messages, protecting individuals, or guiding events, angels are always ready to do God's bidding. They are His messengers, ensuring that everything in creation runs smoothly according to His perfect plan. Can an angel fail when given a task by God? The question of whether angels can fail in their missions is a fascinating one. On one hand, angels are powerful spiritual beings created by God to carry out His will. Throughout Scripture, we see them as obedient messengers, faithfully executing God's commands with authority. But can we truly say they never fail? Are there times when they don't fully succeed in their tasks? This leads us to wonder if the idea of failure even applies to angels. Since God is sovereign and His will always prevails, can we really say that angels can fail? Or are these so-called failures just part of the complexities of spiritual battles or the choices made by humans? Consider the rebellion of Satan and the other fallen angels. While their choice to turn against God wasn't a failure of a mission, it does show that angels, just like humans, have the ability to make decisions that go against God's will. Does this mean that in some situations, angels might struggle or falter, especially when their missions involve human free will or resistance? In the Bible, there's a noteworthy event where angels were given an important task. But what happened next makes us wonder if their mission was really a total success. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Your support helps us grow and brings you more amazing stories. Throughout history, God has intervened in human lives in remarkable ways by sending angels as His messengers. These divine beings play a vital role in carrying out God's will, offering guidance, protection, and help during crucial moments. Their successful interventions show us just how deeply connected the divine and human worlds truly are. One of the earliest examples of angelic intervention is found in the story of Abraham and Sarah. God promised them a son, even though they were quite old. To confirm this promise, he sent 3 angels to visit Abraham. In Genesis 18, these angels shared the amazing news that Sarah would conceive a child. This visit reassured them of God's faithfulness and ultimately led to the birth of Isaac, the child they had longed for. As we move through history, we see another powerful moment during the Exodus. The Israelites were trapped between the Red Sea and the pursuing Egyptian army, facing what seemed like certain doom. In this dire situation, God sent an angel to guide them. In Exodus 14, verses 19 to 20, the angel of God moved behind the Israelites, creating a barrier between them and the Egyptians. This act of protection allowed the Israelites to cross the sea safely, demonstrating God's unwavering support in their time of need. The New Testament brings us further examples of angelic activity, particularly during the birth of Jesus. The angel Gabriel was sent to Mary with the incredible news that she would become the mother of the Son of God. Luke 1, verses 26 to 38. This moment changed everything, revealing God's beautiful plan for salvation. Shortly after, angels appeared to shepherds in the fields, proclaiming the joyful news of Jesus' birth. Luke 2, verses 8 to 14. This angelic announcement not only guided the shepherds to the manger, but also highlighted God's active involvement in our lives. There is also this angelic intervention in the story of Peter's miraculous escape from prison. In Acts 12, King Herod had imprisoned Peter, planning to execute him, but God sent an angel to rescue him. The angel appeared in Peter's cell, waking him up and leading him to freedom. Together, they passed by guards and exited the prison, showing us that God can use angels to change seemingly hopeless situations. These examples illustrate that God actively intervenes in our lives through angels, who carry out his divine plans with remarkable effectiveness. From reassuring promises to life-saving guidance, angels serve as a bridge between heaven and earth, reminding us of God's constant presence and care. But let's take a look at a particular event in which a group of angels was sent on a rescue mission to a family. God's intention was to save the whole family, but something unexpected happened. The outcry against the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah reached the ears of God. He looked down and saw how the people were living, recognizing that their actions were hurting not just themselves, but everyone around them. These cities were filled with people who had turned away from righteousness and justice, choosing instead to follow a path of corruption. Sodom and Gomorrah, 2 ancient cities mentioned in the Bible, were notorious for their wickedness. Located near the Dead Sea, now part of southern Jordan and Israel, these cities thrived in a fertile area that allowed for agriculture and trade, making them important in their time. The names Sodom and Gomorrah carry meanings that relate to their eventual downfall. Sodom is often thought to mean to burn, while Gomorrah may suggest being submerged or overwhelmed. Together, these names symbolize the destruction that was to come and the deep moral failings of their people. The residents of Sodom and Gomorrah were wealthy and enjoyed a prosperous lifestyle. However, their success came at a cost. They engaged in many sinful activities. The cities were known for extreme immorality, violence, and a complete lack of compassion for others. This lifestyle created a culture very different from what God intended for humanity. Before deciding on a course of action, God spoke to Abraham, who was concerned about innocent lives potentially being caught in the destruction. Abraham pleaded with God, asking if he would spare the cities if a certain number of righteous people could be found. This heartfelt dialogue shows God's desire to be just and merciful, even amidst widespread sin. However, as God examined the cities, it became clear that they were beyond saving. The moral decay was so profound that there weren't enough righteous individuals to justify sparing Sodom and Gomorrah. God chose to spare Lot, the nephew of Abraham, who lived in the city of Sodom. Recognizing the urgent need to save Lot and his family, he sent angels with one task: to rescue Lot and his family from the impending doom. When the angels arrived in Sodom, they found Lot sitting at the city gate. Lot welcomed the angels into his home, offering hospitality and shelter. However, the city was filled with corrupt and hostile people, reflecting the moral chaos surrounding them. That night, a crowd of men gathered outside Lot's house, demanding that he hand over his angelic guests. Desperate to protect them, Lot pleaded with the angry mob, showing just how deep the moral decay ran in Sodom. The angels, aware of the danger, stepped in to help. They struck the men outside with blindness, allowing Lot and his family to escape the immediate threat. After this tense confrontation, the angels informed Lot that the city would soon be destroyed and urged him to gather his family and flee. They warned them to leave quickly and not to look back. The angels' instructions were clear. They needed to leave the city and head to the mountains for safety. However, Lot and his family hesitated. As they reached a safe distance and the first light of dawn began to break over the horizon, the Lord rained down fire and brimstone upon Sodom and Gomorrah. This divine judgment came from the heavens, consuming the cities in a fierce blaze. Flames erupted violently, engulfing buildings, while thick smoke and the acrid smell of sulfur filled the air. In a moment of hesitation, Lot's wife felt a tug at her heart, a mix of longing and curiosity pulling her back. She turned her head toward the smoldering ruins of Sodom, her mind flooded with memories. The familiar streets, the laughter of friends, the life she had known. Flames danced in the sky, and thick smoke twisted upwards, creating a chaotic scene of destruction. Yet, despite the danger, she couldn't help but glance back. But in that fleeting moment, everything changed. As she looked back, she was suddenly transformed into a pillar of salt. It was as if her very act of defiance crystallized her fate, freezing her in that instant forever. The angels were determined to save Lot and his family from the impending destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Their mission was clear: get them to safety before God's judgment fell upon the city. In his mercy, God even gave them time to carry out this rescue. The angels worked hard, urging Lot to gather his family and escape. Just when it seemed they were almost safe, disaster struck. Lot's wife, filled with a longing for her old life, looked back at the city. At that moment, she was turned into a pillar of salt, a powerful reminder of the consequences of disobedience. Did the angels' mission to save Lot and his family fail? How can one be rescued if they are not ready to leave their past behind? What does this story teach us about the choices we make in times of crisis? Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Your support inspires us to keep creating amazing content. We can't wait to see you in the next one.